Good evening. Let us begin this Panchama Veda today by chanting this mantra. Tabu kathamritam tapta jivanam kavibhiriritam kalmashapaham sravana mangalam Srimadatam Bhubi Grinanti E Bhurida Janaha. In our last Tuesday, we heard how, through example, Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna explained that a person can perform all worldly duties, at the same time keep his mind on God. This teaching is very important for us because all of us in different sphere, we are engaged in the worldly things, worldly duties, responsibilities. We cannot say no to these. But at the same time, if we are not putting our mind to God, then what will happen to us? If we have the faith that there is God, there is the existence of God, then obviously we should have to have a process, a method, a spiritual discipline so that we can put our mind to God. How Sri Ramakrishna is giving the example, and we read that example last time. He was mentioning about the lady, how did from the daily things, how he picked up the example and gave it. Nowadays, of course, maybe in the modern society, it will be difficult for them to understand that, but the villages, they used to have the husking machines, and the two ladies used to press at the back of that husking machine and used to fall on a particular hole where they used to keep the rices and used to get flattened. One lady will be sitting over there and constantly changing the position of the rices inside the hole with her own hand. Now once you make a mistake, the rhythm is going on. If you make a little mistake, then obviously that heavy thing will come on your hand. Sri Ramakrishna is giving the example that lady was nursing the baby, her baby, and at the same time the customer has come, she is talking to the customer. At the same time, her mind was so alert that her hand doesn't get hurt. So this is called constant remembrance of God. When we are working in different position, a part of our mind should be towards God, constantly remembering God. I saw one Swamiji, he was highly respected in our order, and he was in Patna, Bihar. He was in charge of that place. I went, I saw. In the morning, all around the neighbors are coming to meet him. He is sitting under a tree and talking to them, but I noticed that her hand is going on, fingers are going on, counting the name of God. Not that he is not listening, he is listening, responding. But at the same time, going on, taking the name of God, repeating the name of God, so that way, keeping his mind constantly remembering God. And this is the reason that the system that they developed, Hindus, they developed, particularly in the Tantra and also the Vaishnava, the Mantra Diksha, it goes on helping us. Guru said, you only repeat the name of God, that's all. And he is going on repeating the God. When he is talking, he is alert. The moment he is stopped, somebody is responding, somebody is replying, he is listening, but a part of his mind goes to God. So this way it is going. We heard this teaching from the mouth of Sri Krishna. Bhagavan Sri Krishna is also telling to Arjuna, a man like him, a hero. And what? He was inspiring Arjuna to go and fight in the war field. And he said, Mam anusmara juddha cha. Cha means and you should remember that you are doing my work. You are fighting against your enemy as if, but that is my work. I entrusted you to do that. So in that fashion, in that way, when our mind is at the feet of God, remembering the name of God, and God's name are same. The God's name and God is the same. If we can go on taking the name of God, it is God that we are remembering. So, Mam Anusmara Yuddhacha. That is Sri Ramakrishna, he said, and then in 369 page, he is asking Srish, that famous person. He was first class first, as a very intelligent person, never stood second in his life. And in those days, that was the highest position in the society. They used to feel to become a lawyer. So he became a lawyer. Because that was India was under the subjugation, under the rule of the Britishers. So obviously, if you are a lawyer, then you can feel little freedom. You can go and argue, you can quote the law, you can quote the books that written by them, the law framed by them. So that way, that lawyer used to have little respect in the society. So most of the intelligent people, boys, they used to take up that profession. So he was a lawyer. And he was talking with Sri Ramakrishna. Sri Ramakrishna liked him. He is telling to, because Srish, we have heard, the Srish is arguing, we don't have time to take the name of God. So Sri Ramakrishna is telling, surrender everything at the feet of God. Now he is giving another option to Srish. Okay, you don't have time to take the name of God, to meditate on Him, no problem. Surrender everything to God. Mam anusmara yuddhacha is also the same. Remember me constantly and go on doing your duties. These are the spiritual discipline. Of course, when we are getting up early morning, bathing in the holy water, sitting in the temple, offering puja and oblations to the Homa, all that is spiritual discipline. Chanting from the holy books, everything. But this is also when the whole day we are working, forgetting God. Just in the morning for half an hour, 15 minutes we have remembered Him, and in the night time, no. Rather, whatever you are doing, just surrender it to God, so that you are remembering God. Constantly, God, you have kept me in this position. So this is my responsibility, this is my duty. Whatever I am doing, I am giving it to you. Surrender it to you. So that way he said, surrender everything at the feet of God. What else can you do? Give Him the power of attorney. Let Him do whatever He thinks. If you rely on a great man, he will never injure you. So the faith on God, that He is my Creator, my Father, whatever I am doing, I am giving it to Him. And with that faith, if we can do, the great lives are there. The very inspiring life on this is Mirabai. So many things were happening in her life. She was a lady. And so many, her very close relatives were against her, creating problem for her. But she was going on continuously remembering God, not criticizing anyone. Whatever is happening all around is okay. She was going on praying to God and God and God. Who remembers those relatives? Those who were creating problem in her life, those who were reading very seriously, they may be coming into that. But we are not appreciating, but so many hundreds of years have passed. Anyone trying to realize God through bhakti, remembering her, because she was a torchlight for that. Went on surrendering everything, surrender everything at the feet of God. Then Sri Ramakrishna is continuing. It is no doubt necessary to practice spiritual discipline, but there are two kinds of aspirants. Aspirants, those who are trying to realize God, thinking in that spiritual way. There are two kinds, Sri Ramakrishna is telling. The nature of the one kind is like that of a young monkey, and the nature of the other kind is like that of a kitten. The young monkey, with great exertion, somehow clings to its mother. Likewise, there are some aspirants who think that in order to realize God, they must repeat His name a certain number of times, meditate on Him for a certain period, and practice a certain amount of austerity. An aspirant of this kind makes his own efforts to catch the hold of God. That is a path. It is a different type of mentality. It depends on that type of person. And the kitten of itself cannot cling to its mother. It lies on the ground and cries, mew, mew. It leaves everything to its mother. The mother cat sometimes puts it on a bed, sometimes on the roof, behind a pile of wood. She carries the kitten in her mouth hither and thither. The kitten doesn't know how to cling to the mother. Aspirants who cannot practice spiritual discipline by calculating about japa or the period of meditation, they are like this if they depend on God. But to become a kitten is very, very difficult. The attitude of a kitten is completely self-surrender. I don't know anything, but my mother is there. She will take care. It is possible only when someone is not having the ego. A little bit of ego, but obviously I have to do, I must do. So that is the reason majority of us, we behave like the monkey way. We always go to the shrine in the morning and meditate. That is also the way. All that they do is to cry to God with yearning hearts. God hears their cry and cannot keep Himself away. He reveals Himself to them. This is a great path, but it needs a lot and lot of previous preparation. Complete devotion, first faith, then devotion, dedication and dependence. So that is the way the kitten's path. So I am not going to do anything, I am not going to remember you, but I am remembering you through my tears. I am going on crying and constantly remembering you, praying for you. The musician, there was a music arrangement was there, he is commenting, it is God alone who is both the instrument and the cause. Sri Ramakrishna with a smile. Then suddenly, if you say like this, most of the people we read books, we hear, then we give the comment, and he is commenting before Sri Ramakrishna, the God himself. And Sri Ramakrishna, with a smile, he said, yes, it is true. It is God alone who acts through us. He is the doer, undoubtedly. The man is his instrument. The musician was giving the hint that we are not responsible, the human beings are not responsible because God is making us to do like that. He quoted Duryodhana. But Sri Ramakrishna in reply says, yes, that is true, but it is also true that an action cannot fail to produce its result. Immediately, this is the beauty of Sri Ramakrishna. It's not that musician was telling something wrong, it is correct. But at the same time, karma phala is also there. When we were studying that philosophy, and there we found Ramanuja philosophy, the Vishishtadvaita philosophy, he is a devotee, but at the same time Advaitin. And he was making this comment, karma phala. Each and every Hindu, they believe the karma phala. The whatever action that we have done, the result we have to enjoy. Who else will do that? And in the beginning, the first creation, when we talk about, Hindu says, no, there is no creation. It is eternal. When it began, we do not know. It is projection. Everything, all the time, every moment, new way, as if creating, but it had already in the past, something was there. So the projection. In the past, something happened, then it went back in a subtle mode, and it was waiting, again came back. Last Sunday, we were discussing about that. Again, in the next class, in the Ramanuja philosophy, we will read that. It is like coming out and going back. But the karma phalas that we have done, it is remaining. It is not going to be destroyed. And then the moment once again the creation begins, from that karma, phala comes. That is called prarabdha. Prarabdha, pra means past, arabdha, done. So we have already done something. Who is going to have that? Just because the things are completely closed, it is not going to happen. No, it won't be. So Sri Ramakrishna is mentioning about that. He is telling, it is also true that an action cannot fail to produce its result. Your stomach will certainly burn if you eat hot chili. It is God who has ordained that chili will burn your stomach. If you commit a sin, you must bear its fruit. That's why Swami Vivekananda is asking this question. Why should I be moral? If I can somehow manage to hidden, society cannot find me, cannot catch me, no one will know what I am doing, why should I not do whatever I want? Why should I have to be so moral? It is not that way. Immoral, sinful act, hurting others, creating problem for others, disturbing others, just for my own sake, only to be happy, I am killing others, cheating others, looting others. That result is called sinful act, and I am going to suffer for that, either in this life or maybe in future life. That's for sure. No one can stop that. So that is the reason he is telling like this, that which you have already, arrow that you have already shot, it is now moving, you cannot stop it. You have shot that arrow, but now it is beyond your capacity to stop that. It will go and heat and create problem. So that is called prarabdha, the past action that we have done. So what we should do? Must be careful about the future. So the sanchita and Another Sanchita and Agami. These are the two. Sanchita means already store is there. It has not opened, acting. That can be burned. That can be stopped functioning by the prayer, by the blessings of God, by the good karma. I was supposed to suffer much more, but it has not started. That I can stop. That is the reason one should be spiritual. One should be moral. One should be cooperative and good. So that is the main reason. We do not understand this. As because this is not a gross thing, we cannot see it. It is so subtle, we think nobody will know it. But when you look at the history, when you go through the pages of the history, all the time it has been repeated again and again, but we do not remember it. The person, the moment he comes in power, he thinks, I am going to be, and no one will be there to punish me. And we have seen that in history, all these great kings and the rulers and the administrators, they suffered. So that is the reason one should be very, very careful. If you commit a sin, you must bear its fruit. Then he is telling, but one who has realized perfection, realized God, cannot commit sin. An expert singer cannot sing a false note. So any action that we do, it will create problem. But when you are surrendering it to God, the God will take care of it. So that is the reason he is telling you have to have that. Then the conversation with the Shrish continuing. It was about 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Master was seated again in the Ishan's drawing room. Harish, Shrish, all they were there. The master continued. So this is called the spiritual leadership. Wherever they go, the spiritual people, they always try to utilize each and every moment for the betterment of others. And this we find the ministership that they call. Of course, the Christian conception of ministers, they go and help in their social things also. But the Hindu concept of ministers, that is the spiritual leaders, they will simply talk about the spirituality. They will go on helping you, constantly making you aware. We see the same thing in the life of Sri Ramakrishna, how much importance he is giving. This man is very intelligent. Suppose he can understand this, it will be very good for him. So he is going on. What is your attitude towards God? He is asking Shrish. And he is telling, I am he, or master and servant. What is your attitude? So this is the question he is asking, because in those days, and now also you will find, most of the people, they always think about the Jnana Margi. And those who are talking about that, they like to listen to them, they like to read those books. Nothing wrong, it's good. But Sri Ramakrishna is giving the caution, as Sri Krishna also gave in the Gita, be careful, this is very, very difficult path. You want to develop the spiritual life? So that is most important. So he is telling, I am he, that is the path of the knowledge, I am he, Tattvamasi, that all these teachings. And or master and servant, what is your attitude? He is asking that young man. Then immediately he is giving this instruction, suggestions. For the householder, it is very good to look on God as the master. The householder is conscious of doing the duties of life himself. Under such condition, how can I say I am he? So the practice of that I am he, how can you say that? To him who says I am he, the world appears to be a dream. His mind, his body, even his ego are dreams to him. Therefore, he cannot perform worldly duties. So it is very good for the householder to look on himself as a servant and on God as the master. So, see, this is called the spiritual guidance. He is all the time asking us, telling us what is good for us. The most of the people, they'll be teaching in different way, and then they forget. The one boy who is now in connection with me, he want to take initiation. Then the one person, he told, I will teach you the yoga. You need not to go and take initiation from this Ramakrishna mission Swamis. They are not that way sannyasins. I will teach you yoga. And by that, within a few days, few months, your Kundalini Shakti will arise. And the whole, this nature will be under your control and all this. The poor boy practiced. He himself told me recently, 2 years continuously, he practiced the wrong way. And what happened, you know? He has lost his mental balance. Now under treatment. Now I am going on telling him in this way, this way, this way. This is only a mental sickness. As we are physically sick, we go to doctor, we take medicine, we go under all those things. Again, we become all right. Similarly, mind will also be all right. It is subtle, so it takes time to heal. So be careful, it will be all right. Then he disclosed all these things, it happened. Look at it. Where is that man now? Now he is somewhere, again, destroying somebody else. So just to become a guru, just to become a guide, that is my ego. I am guiding someone, but destroying them. So one should be very careful. Am I really helping or disturbing them, destroying them? So the young man, I don't know what will happen in future. So this is what Sri Ramakrishna is telling. One should be very, very careful to choose the path. I told him, you took the path of yoga. You should have read the Swami Vivekananda's book. If you were sincerely trying to practice that, you should have to give up all other things, because you have to restrict your diet, your food, your lifestyle, everything should be restricted, and then only one can practice the yoga. Little bit of meditation, little bit of other things, it's okay. But if you are sincerely doing it, Jnana Yoga also, you go hear the lecture, you like that, conversation, argument, it's okay. But if you take that path as your spiritual path and started practicing, there Sri Ramakrishna is coming and telling, then you have to give up everything, because you are telling that I am God. Then what is these worldly duties are? Naturally, they won't be there. You have to give up everything. So this, he says, if you are just for the academic thing you go, okay, no problem. But for a spiritual practice if you go, this is the thing what he says. Then he is giving an example. Hanumana had the attitude of a servant. He said to Rama, he was having the attitude of a servant. He served in that way. The great Hanumana, we know, the devotee. Whenever we talk about the devotion, Hanumana. And what he said to his master? Deho buddhva dasoham. When I feel this, that I am this body, then I am your servant, you are my master. Look at it. This is the way of knowledge through devotion, through service. Deho buddhva dashoham. I feel that I am your servant. I am here to serve you. When I feel that I have a body, I have a mind, so I am associated with these. Naturally, I am your servant. Then he says, Jiva buddhva tadamshaka. See that Madhvacharya, then it comes Ramanujacharya. He says, Jiva buddhva tad amshaka. When I feel that I am also that soul, but a part. So obviously I am your part. You are the whole, I am the part. But I am also same like you, though tiny, as a soul. So Jiva buddhva tad amshaka. Then he said, Atma buddhva tamevaham. O Rama, I am you. I am that. I am he. There cannot be two. There cannot be anything else but I. There cannot be the existence of this world. Nothing can be there. When Atma buddhva, that is called the path of knowledge, that is called the path of jnana. And there remains no two, only one. And that is myself. So that Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna is giving that example. In the state of perfect knowledge, one may feel I am he. But that is far beyond the ordinary man's experience. Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna, if you have read their biography, in the modern time, anyone of any sect, of any religion, if they are really interested to know about the spirituality, should read the biography of Sri Ramakrishna, should read this particular book, the teachings of Sri Ramakrishna, before reading anything else. Why? He is the example of all this. He started worshipping goddess Kali, and the time came, he started telling, Ma, you want this for me to eat? Okay, I will eat a little, then you also eat. Can you imagine? A person worshipping, a worshipper, he fast eating, and that food he is offering to God or goddesses. Can you imagine that? We do not look at the food before offering it to God. We cover it. Then when we offer, we open that cover, then he say, please come and take it fast. Anything that we cook and then like to offer, first few little portion we take, offer, this should be given to God, then the other thing we can eat. That much respect we always do, every devotee they do. But here the Sri Ramakrishna, the worshipper, he is talking with his own deity, Mother Kali, and behaving like that. The garland that was supposed to put on the mother, that image in Dakshineshwar, he said, you want me to wear it? Okay. Then he like that. And whoever was watching the other people, particularly the owner, he saw and he said, this is something unique, something special, something divine. We must respect him and protect him. We should not disturb his way of sadhana. That is called the purity. I am he. But that is far beyond the ordinary man's experiences. The majority of the people who try to follow that, they pretend and become a great hypocrites. So that is why Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna asking. Then Sri is telling, that is true. The attitude of a servant relieves a man of all his worries. The servant depends entirely upon his master. The Sri is telling from the other viewpoint, but he is telling this is true. The master, he is telling, well, what suits your taste? God with form or the formless? Those who are studying the the gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, they will be coming again and again this type of discussion, God with form and formless, God with attitude or without attributes, and this whether the God can be approached to the Jnana Marga, or the Karma Marga, or the Bhakti Marga. These things again and again, because he is meeting different people in different times, and he is giving them the instruction, and sometimes the same person he is meeting repeating because they forget. So to engrave that instructions, he is telling again and again. In the Shastras, in the scripture when you read, same thing again and again they say. It is nothing wrong in it. In the scripture it is said, why the repetition so many times? Particularly those intellectual people, once they hear, they understand, they don't like to listen to it again. When repeating the same thing to them, they feel it is an insult. I have understood it. Why you are telling again? So here Sri Ramakrishna is telling, and his personal, the helper, that his own Hridayaram, his nephew, once he said, "Maternal uncle, why you tell the same thing again and again?" Sri Ramakrishna told, "That is my thing. You need not to worry about that. I will tell. What is that to you?" Because he knew that this person needs to be going on repeating, "You should not do this, you should not." Like the mother telling the children all the time, every time, same type of thing we hear, then at that moment we don't do. If you can remember our young days, so many times the mother told, "You don't do this, you should not do this." Like this it went on. Then slowly, slowly it went into our mind, subconscious mind. When you grew up, automatically those instructions came into actions. Now we are giving the same teaching to our juniors. So this way Sri Ramakrishna is telling, the attitude of it, he is telling, well, what suits your taste? God with form or the formless reality? But to tell you the truth, immediately he is telling to truth, he who is formless is also endowed with form. When you read the gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, as if it is no problem. But you know, this is the problem. Because of this, so many organizations came up, because a strong idea came in the society. God is omnipotent, omnipresent, all-powerful, everywhere present. How that God can come into the picture or in an image? How it is possible? So obviously, the ages-long tradition of worshipping God through the images, it came into question. Many of the people, educated people, they were under the confusion, what we will do? Sri Ramakrishna is solving that problem very easily. Again and again he is putting up this question, raising this topic, analyzing and giving the reply. He is telling it is like a great ocean, you know. An infinite expanse of water without any trace of shore. The water has no form. But again, here and there, some of the water has been frozen. Intense cold has turned it into ice. Just so, under the cooling influence, so to speak, of the bhakta's love, the infinite appears to take a form. Again, the ice melts when the sun rises. It becomes water as before. Just so, one who follows the path of knowledge, the path of discrimination, does not see the form of God. To him everything is formless. The ice melts into formless water with the rise of the sun of knowledge. But mark these, form and formless belong to one and the same reality. Form and formless belong to the same reality. There are great philosophies. The religions are there. Constantly, even today, they are going on telling God cannot have any form. Those who are worshipping the form, they looked upon them with they are not that intelligent to understand what God is. And sometimes it's possible they will go and break those idols and thinking, this is going against God. But they don't stop and think a little. Suppose the God is powerful, all powerful, how is it that God cannot enter into this image? Long, long back in our Upanishad, in our scripture, he said, Bhaktanam anukampartham brahmano rupa kalpana. Look at it, kalpana is all imagination. Why? Because the devotion, the devotee, he or she wants to see God in this form. God told, okay. Because of the devotion of that particular devotee, he is anukampa, he is compassionate, and he is coming and taking that form. At the dusk, the master was ready to start for Dakshinesha. He stood on the south porch of the drawing room talking to Ishan. Ishan was a very famous person in those days. Someone remarked that the chanting of God's holy name did not always produce results. Ishan said, immediately, Sri Ramakrishna was listening. Someone commented, Ishan, it was the house of the Ishan, he was there. Ishan, because of the company of Sri Ramakrishna, by that time they have learned, immediately he replied, how can you say that? The seeds of an ashwatha, a special kind of tree, are no doubt tiny, but in them lie the germs of a big trees. It may take very long time for them to grow. Look at it, how the devotees also learn and then develop. And that is the reason I always inspire our devotees. We cannot reach to you every time. We cannot talk to you every time. You better start small group under this title that Vedanta Study Circle. And Vedanta is inclusive of all the three. Dvaita, Vishishta, Advaita and Advaita. So all type of mentalities, they can come, they can see, they can read, they can discuss, they can meditate. Now in different places people, the devotees are coming together and someone is inviting other friends, maybe 10, 12 people will be gathering in one place. They're reading the book, this gospel, and then slowly meditating on that particular, they don't read much, 2-3 pages. And then they close their eyes and meditate what actually it meant. Then afterwards, that way Mother's book, then the Swamiji's book, they will meditate and read, then they will sing, they will discuss. And slowly, when they go out in their offices, in their societies, among their relatives and other friends, when this type of topic comes, they can answer, they can reply, they can talk to that, and that way, unknowingly, they become missionaries. Missionaries of true knowledge, missionaries of spirituality. And that is the side effect. They are going and talking among the people, and a direct effect, the result, transformation of his own or her own mind. The devotee is getting truly devotion, transforming, and then a time will come, a continuous, if they are really sincere, trying to develop, they will get that blessing. And that will bring great joy And that is for sure. No frustration. Only joy will come. And that is the speciality of God's work. But in the name of God's work, if I work for my ego, God is not responsible. So this what Sri Ramakrishna said. And he was talking to someone. And Sri Ramakrishna immediately supported this person. And Ishan, he said, yes, yes. It takes a long time to see the effect. When a person is going on taking the name of God, and after some time he says, no, I am thinking that I will change this course because it's not happening anything. How you will know how things are changing? Slowly, slowly it changes. One person came, and naturally we like to see the direct effect. So the majority of the people, they go for the meditation without knowing why they are going for meditation. Actually, they are going for peace, mental peace and happiness. And some they are going thinking that if I can control my mind, by that way I will have the supernatural power, magical power, so that I will do something, control the minds of others. Wrong. It is not possible. That way you won't be able to. So unnaturally they get frustration. But if you are patiently going on taking the name of God, for sure result will come, unfailingly. The master is taking, yes, yes, it takes a long time to see the effect. Sri Ramakrishna said to Ishan, you are living in the world as a mudfish living in the mud. He is happy. The Ishans, because he could see the mind of the person. So when he saw the Ishan, so he was a rich man, he was well established in the society, but slowly in the company of Sri Ramakrishna, he was developing the spirituality. He was there in the household life, but his understanding was getting cleared. The moment your understanding is clear, obviously the flow of your attention, devotion, concentration will go to that light which is God. He said, you are living in the world as a mudfish lives in the mud. It lives in the mud, but its body is not stained. This is the beauty. What happens to a person who is developing spirituality? He lives in the society, not that he has to leave the society. He lives in the society without being affected, stained by the society. And that is called Jivan Mukta. When he is living, he is completely free. No abnormality, nothing at all, pure religion. And that gives tremendous joy, compassion, love. So that is the way it is possible. There are both Vidya and Avidya. Now he is giving the hint of this word. There are both Vidya and Avidya. Avidya means science, ignorance. And Vidya, true knowledge. What is the true knowledge? God only exists. Or there is only Brahman and nothing else. And Avidya, ignorance, thinking multiplicity, all these things, and thinking that they are true. So this is the only awareness one has to keep. All the varieties that I see is nothing but the reflections of the Brahman or the reflections of God. That is the way. In this world of Maya, it is Vidya and Avidya. Who may be called a Paramahamsa? There is a terminology in the Paramahamsa. We call Sri Ramakrishna, not we actually, the great souls, they gave him Paramahamsa Sri Ramakrishna. Why Paramahamsa? He who, likes a swan, Parama means great, Hamsa means swan, the great swan. He who, like a swan, can take the milk from a mixture of milk and water. because has a special capacity. Only milk it will take, sip, not the water. So that is called the way they will live in the world. Only take the good thing, nothing bad. So they are Paramahamsa, leaving aside the water. He who, like an ant, can take the sugar from a mixture of sugar and sand. So difficult to find out when it is get mixed, the sugar and sand, but the ant can do it. That is the speciality. Similarly, the high spiritual person, he takes only good from this world. And he knows that this world is not all bad. It's a mixture of good and bad. I will take only the good. Let the bad remain over there. And leaving aside the sand, it was evening. Sri Ramakrishna was going towards from Calcutta to Dakshinesha, and that was in a hired carriage. It was so troublesome. Look at it, the God going to door to the different devotees, whomever he know, and he is going and stopping over there, sending that I am coming, and naturally he used to ask the devotee, better call some of the neighbors and your relatives, friends. Every time he used to go over there, meeting them, talking to them. That is the way this ministerial job Sri Ramakrishna used to do. And Sri Ramakrishna going, it came the Ramachandra, he was his disciple. He went over there and he went to their drawing room, and there he engaged in conversation with the Mahendra Goswami, who was a Vaishnava. And he was a neighbor of the and then Ramakrishna was fond of him. Though he was a Vaishnava, he was a very good person. Now you find that how Sri Ramakrishna all the time correcting the devotees. Master, the worshippers of Vishnu, because he is a Vaishnava, so the worshippers of Vishnu and the worshippers of Shakti will all ultimately reach one and the same goal. The ways may be different. The true Vaishnavas do not criticize the Shaktas. In those days, the people used to have, and the Vaishnavas will never ever look at the Shaktas, and Shaktas will never at the Vaishnavas. We will have this retreat on the Vaishnavism. We will find how the Vaishnavas, to make themselves different, they used to have the different type of marks to prove that I am a Vaishnava. And the Shaktas also developed that. They also started putting the marks on their forehead to announce that I am a Shakta. So this way all this to have. Sri Ramakrishna told, but paths are different. They are going to reach into the same goal. And Goswami smiling, Shiva and Parvati are our father and mother. Sri Ramakrishna, out of his stock of English words, he knew a few English words. And Master Mahasaya, making a fun out of it, he is writing Sri Ramakrishna out of his stock of a dozen English words, said sweetly, thank you. Then he added, yes, father and mother. Goswami, besides, it is a sin to criticize anyone, especially a devotee of God. All sins may be forgiven, but not the sin of criticizing a devotee. Sri Ramakrishna immediately see how, in a very subtle way, rectifying him. Master, but this idea of sin does not by any means affect all. Look at it. When I am going and pointing out that these are the mistakes that you have done, it's not a criticism, but help to go forward. So he is making in this way. This idea of sin does not by any means affect all. For instance, Ishvara Kotis, such as incarnations of God, are above sin. Sri Chaitanya is an example. The Ishvara Koti, like we see in the life of Jesus, he is going to the synagogues, the prayer, the temples of the Jews, and there he is going, almost he took up a stick to beat the priest, and he chased them. Don't make my father's house a business place. Like that way. It's not a criticism. Not that he will have the scene. He is telling like this. And Sri Ramakrishna is telling, I pray to the Divine Mother for pure love. So that is the prayer we should have. In the next time, he is hinting, you should undoubtedly bow before all views. See how to develop in the spiritual life, you should have to have one, not all. But at the same time, have the devotion for all. So this is telling, you should undoubtedly bow before all views. But there is a thing called unswerving devotion to one ideal. That's called Ishta Nishtha. True, you should salute everyone, but you must love one ideal with your whole soul. That is unswerving devotion. And giving the example of Hanumana. Hanumana could not take delight in any other form than that of Rama. Gopis had single-minded love for the cowherd Krishna of Vrindavan. Not even the Krishna of Dwarka, only Vrindavan Krishna. A wife may serve her husband's brothers by fetching water or in other ways, but she cannot serve them in the way she does to her husband. With him, she has a special relationship. This is called Ishtanishtha. This solves all our problem. You know that tomorrow I am going to attend a program in the South Korea, the Seoul. I do not know how they are organizing, what will happen over there. If we try to solve the problem in a political way, I don't believe that it is possible. If we try to solve it in a social and economical way, it will take a long time. But a spiritual way, not religious way, in the spiritual way, understanding this truth. I love my God, but at the same time, I respect others' gods also. I doggedly and strictly follow my path. At the same time, I believe and accept that other paths are also leading to the same goal. So this is the only message if the religious teachers, they give to the masses. Whatever I say, only that is true, that is the religious teacher's ego. It cannot be helpful for the society. Let us see, but slowly, the idea of Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna reaching out to the different society, different people, they are not very much clear about this, but trying to understand it. So if we can, that I always tell our devotees, when you give a gift to any others, give whatever you like, but at the same time, give Sri Ramakrishna's gospel to them. If even they go through a few pages, just in the front, in the beginning of the book, if they go through that, and if they are really sincere, immediately their thought will change. They will understand it more better way, more clear way. Thank you very much. Let us offer our pranam and conclude. Niranjanam nityam anantarupam bhaktanukampa dhrita vigraham vai Ishavataram Parameshamidyam Tam Ramakrishnam Shirasa Namama. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tat Sat Sri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu. Friends, you perhaps know, this time, usually, every 3 months we publish our e-magazine, Chicago Calling. Now the 15th volume has been published, and this time we have published a special issue, and that is Sister Nivedita issue. 3-4 wonderful articles are there about Sister Nivedita. I think as a token of love for the great lady who dedicated her everything for the service of humanity, you can just go through those pages. It will be excellent. Next month in October, we will conclude, and the Swamis are coming from outside. They will be having the talk, and we will have 3 programs, one in the University of Chicago, another our fall banquet and Meadows Club, and third on the Sunday evening in the Hindu temple, Lemont. So this e-zine has been published on 11th September because it is Sister Nivedita, and she used to mention Nivedita of Ramakrishna Vivekananda. So we thought instead of 3rd, let us publish it on 11th September, the special day for Sister Nivedita. The hard copies are available in our